Speaking of America and its problematic allies, Turkey got some good news on Monday. The US has cleared an F-16 upgrade package for them. The deal is worth around $259 million. As you would expect, the State Department is sticking to the routine script. Turkey is a long-standing NATO ally, and the package will increase interoperability. All true, but that's not the full story. The US and Turkey have been playing an interesting game. On the one hand, it's no secret that Joe Biden does not like Recep Tayyip Erdogan. In 2020, in fact, he called Erdogan an autocrat, even suggested helping the Turkish opposition parties. His predecessor, Donald Trump, had better relations. And yet, in late 2020, he slapped CAATSA sanctions on Turkey. CAATSA stands for Countering America's Adversaries Through Sanctions Act. Here's how it works. Suppose you buy weapons from America's enemy countries, say Russia or Iran or North Korea. You buy weapons from them. Then the US government is empowered to impose sanctions on you. That's what Trump did with Turkey. In 2017, Erdogan signed a deal to buy S-400 missiles from Russia. 2 years later, the sanctions from America came. It was America's way of keeping Erdogan in check. But the war in Ukraine changed the equation. Suddenly, the US needed Turkey for two things. One, to mediate between Russia and Ukraine, and two, to approve NATO's Nordic expansion. Without Erdogan's green light, Finland and Sweden could not join NATO. And that meant advantage Erdogan. Last month, he did approve Finland's entry, but Sweden is still waiting in line. So reports say this F-16 package is supposed to be a positive signal, sort of like a nudge. But the question is, will Erdogan be satisfied with this? Because he has set his eyes on a much larger package. In 2021, the Turkish president proposed a $20 billion deal. Turkey would buy new F-16 jets and 80 modernization kits. That deal has been stalled by the US Congress. Why? Because they want assurances from Erdogan first. One is obviously the NATO expansion. The second is normalizing tensions with Greece. And third is not invading Syria. You may remember Erdogan issuing threats of invading Syria last year. It came to nothing in the end. If Erdogan gives these assurances, he may get the swanky new F-16s, but ultimately it's a question of how much leverage he has. Next month is election time in Turkey. Erdogan has already accused the West of trying to meddle. In fact, he's asked voters to, quote-unquote, teach the United States a lesson. Despite this rhetoric and the CAATSA sanctions, America seems powerless. It's a classic example of a bad marriage. On the one hand, the West gives Erdogan weapons and financial aid. On the other, he's slapped with sanctions. So election results in May won't just be consequential for Turkey. They could also reshape the country's relationship with NATO and the US.